and spend 2 nights. But at any rate, it's 13 labs over the course of 2 years. So the way I look at that is that, you know, everybody's got 104 weekends. You're giving up 13 of them for your career. So it reminds me of, for many years, I was part of the executive committee with IPLSA, and all of our meetings were held in Springfield. And I think we had 6 or 8 a year. So we had 16 over the course of 2 years. And, you know, I totally get it. On those days that came for Saturday that you're going down to Springfield, or in this case, Champaign, I get it. It's a commitment. But all I would say is that it's a commitment to yourself. It's something that you're investing in yourself and in your own career. And hopefully we will convince you and show you today that it'll pay dividends in the long run. And, you know, again, you're not doing it for someone else, you're doing it for yourself. So there aren't always that many opportunities where you're actually able to do something that is directly benefit for you. So initial enrollment of the program is required to be completed through IPLSA. And we're looking for a date of June 1st, 2022. So that's coming up in just a few short weeks. Is there a possibility that could go beyond that? I think, you know, I won't say the answer is no, because I think if someone came in on June 12th and said, hey, I missed the June 1st date, can I still sign up? I'm sure they would absolutely welcome you in the program and try and get things going. But we're looking at June 1st as a push date, because that prevents it from being problematic to get to the September start date. You know, it sounds like a long way away, but it really isn't. It goes June, July, and August will go by fast. September's right around the corner. So once enrolled through IPLSA, you'll be directed to apply for the structured training at Parkland. And there's an assessment and placement testing required for Parkland. I believe they have study guides that are available to assist to prepare for the assessment test. And then the structured training would begin in September 2022. The structured training consists of 4 sections, basically coincide with a school year, right? You have your fall semesters, spring semesters. They take the summer off in 2023. You'll have fall 2023, spring 2024, and then completion of the program would be in May of 2024. All right, next poll question. And this is right now, as you sit here today, is have you decided to sign up for the survey mapping technician program? Ryan, how do you want me to answer this question?
Well, Tim, what have you decided? Are you going to be a technician, or are you pretty happy being a surveyor at the moment?
I guess you answered it for me. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Okay. We still have a few responses rolling in here, so we'll give people a couple more minutes. Hey, Tim, why don't we just take a second here, and when the poll ends, we'll pop up what the results are. That way everybody can have a look at that.
I think what you're saying is how hard do we have to work the rest of this program, huh?
Exactly. So, all right, looks like most folks are in, so we'll give it an in and show the results here.
Excellent.
So looks like,
and you know, I got to tell you, this is extremely encouraging. Just seeing that, and I see a 50% undecided. That just means, to me, that means you're looking for more information, which is why we're here today. We're here to provide you information. We're not trying to force anybody into something they're not interested in, but we you know, I've been doing this for a long time. Clayton has been doing this for a long time, and the program was put together by employers and surveyors that are just very invested their lives in this industry. This is a great program. I can tell you, it's just something that hasn't existed before, and I get that everybody's busy in his lives and families, but this is really a great opportunity, and I hope that I hope you see it the same way. But you know, that said, it's not for everybody. So I mean, if it ends up not being, we understand that too. So all right, so moving on. So the program, it concludes with the technicians completing the NSPS Certified Survey Technician exam and employers providing documentation of the on-the-job learning. For those of you, and a lot of you probably aren't familiar with, NSPS, National Society of Professional Surveyors, has a Certified Survey Technician program. and there's 4 different levels, levels 1 through 4. My understanding, I haven't gone through the program. My understanding is that level 4 is extremely challenging. I have a friend, an employer that worked with his staff, and their entire staff completed the level 1, including himself and any other licensed professionals. He basically said, hey, if I'm going to ask the staff to do it, I'm going to do it with them. He told me this is level 1. And he said, hey, he's like, it wasn't a no-brainer. This wasn't something that I could just walk into and take without thinking about it. So from everything I understand about the program, I've been working with Parkland and their students and stuff for a number of years. The training that you get from there, I don't want to say it's going to be a breeze, but if you complete the training, you'll have no problem passing this test. It really, I know it's a test, but I'm going to tell you that as an employer, when I see someone's application and I see a CST level 1 certification, or if I see the IPLSA training program certification and CST level 1, that immediately tells me that I'm talking to someone who's invested in themselves and knows something about surveying. It's going to stand out on a resume, and it's going to make when someone hires you. Right now we're in an employee's job market. Everybody knows that there's a lot of employers hiring we can't find. Trust me, it doesn't always stay that way. There will be times in your career that you're going to need your resume to stand out, that just being a body, just being somebody isn't going to be enough. So this is a great way to invest in yourself and set you apart from maybe the next applicant. So there'll be a certificate of completion from IPLSA and from Parkland College as well on this. And obviously the certifications provide a sense of accomplishment, and just all that knowledge, the employers will see that the technician has met the requirements of the program and was willing to invest in themselves. And like I said, especially if that pendulum ever turns where it's not as strong of a market for employees, trust me, that makes a huge difference. So getting back, so now get into the nitty gritty, fees and other requirements. So there we go. So first of all, IPLSA does not charge any fees. So enrolling in the program, and maybe even to take a step back, our goal is to have everybody enrolled by June 1st. It costs nothing to enroll. So even if you're on the fence and you're not certain, I'd highly recommend you enroll in the program and take the next steps. Basically, as long as, there's steps that have to be met, there's timetables that have to be met, but until you start the classes in September, that's the real no turning back type thing. So if you're undecided, I highly encourage you to meet that June 1st date, get signed up and provide more information or ask for more information if you're still not sure. The structured training at Parkland is charged at an in-district rate. So regardless of where you live in the state, the rate from Parkland College will be the same. And the employers are required to pay all fees to Parkland College, and they cannot in any way require technicians to pay for it. Okay, not fine print, but except as noted below. I'll get to that. But in almost every case, there's no way technicians are not required to pay for the training. It's 100% paid for by the employer. Employers, and again, we mentioned it before, the employers are eligible to receive tax credits to offset the cost of the training. So at the end of the day, this is a program that'll make you better for yourself. It'll make you better for the employer, and it doesn't cost anything. So it's just a win-win. The employers and the technicians are required to enter an agreement with IPLSA that basically says you're going to adhere to all the U.S. Department of Labor rules. That's just a requirement that we have as for being part of the program. The program has a minimum starting and a minimum ending wage of $15 and $17 an hour. Depending on what part of the state you're on, I know a lot of employers are paying more than that for starting wages already. But as long as you started no less than 15 and you finish at no less than 17, you'll meet the requirements of the program. And again, that was just something that was a requirement. It's really tough to put a dollar number on the requirement for that. But it was something that was just required that we had to do. Now, one thing some employers do, and you can ask the three technicians we have that just finished the program, whether they did or not, but employers may also have an agreement with their technician to address the continued employment after completion of the program. I know some firms, and in this case, because it's not costing anything, they may not. But I know some firms, if they were going to pay for, say a firm's going to pay for $10,000 of college education, they may say, we'll pay for it, but we expect you to work for us for at least 1 year or 2 years after you complete the classes. But this is not a requirement. This is entirely up to the employer, whether they have a agreement with you or not. And this is where the one caveat is that an employer could potentially say, hey, I'll pay for it 100% all that. But if you leave the program early, if you don't finish the program, you'll have to reimburse me for it. And, again, that's it's not a requirement of the program. It's just something that an individual employer might do. I can tell you, speaking for our company, like right now we're an employer, it's an employee's market. We're doing everything we can to retain employees, attract new employees. So it's probably not a market where we're going to put penalties on. We're going to just encourage you to finish it and do everything we can to help you finish the program. But that is really the only instance in which you might have some responsibility, is if you sign an agreement with your employer agreeing to pay them back if you don't finish the program. Say like halfway through it, you just drop out. That's a possibility. So, yeah. Now, conversely, just so you know, if the employer decides to leave the program, they're not entitled to any reimbursement. So, if for some reason the employer doesn't want to finish it off, you're not required to reimburse anybody. That's totally on the employer. So, then more on the cost. So the cost of travel, meals, and lodging for the lab work at Parkland. Again, we talked about it. Some people might want to leave Friday night, spend the night. Some people leave early Saturday. I think different employers are doing different things. Some might let you use a company vehicle to drive, so it's not cost you anything in gas. And with prices these days, that's become a big issue. I think some companies will pay for a hotel. Some might even provide some kind of per diem. I think but again, that's entirely up to the company. It's not part of the program as a requirement. But again, going back to where we're at in the employment market, I think a lot of employers probably would provide that. And in addition to that, some employers may even pay you an hourly rate for while you're in class. I don't know if any of the three that are in the program now are getting paid for that, but anything, it's really, that's an optional thing, and whatever the employer wants to do, if they want to compensate you for your time, if they just want to give you, I would say a $250 stipend for the weekend, and where you spend it, whether it applies to your hotel or whatever, that's up to you. It's, employers can really do whatever they want, whatever you negotiate with them. So yeah, next question. If you're undecided about joining, would you be open to just a one-on-one conversation to discuss to help you? And that could be with Clayton from Parkland. That could be with me. That could be with Ryan. Just depends on what kind of questions you have and what information what you're looking for.
Okay, looks like we still have a few coming in here, Tim, so we'll give it another minute or two.
Okay. So and so that's again, trying to be direct here. I mean, gosh, it's already 4:26, so it takes a little bit. We don't want to take any more time you have to, but from the program overview, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Next up is going to be Clayton. He's going to tell you more about the actual courses and the actual training that takes place. And I guess the one thing I should have said in the beginning, but I'll say it now. If you have any questions along the way, you don't have to wait till the end. Feel free to jump in and ask any questions along the way. But we'll have a question and answer at the very end of the program for any questions you do have. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Clayton.
Hi, everybody. Clayton Thurston. I'm the instructor for the apprenticeship program at Parkland College. And I also work as a project manager at Geotech Incorporated in Crest Hill. I've been a technician for over 25 years now. I'm pretty versed in this. I've done everything from your simple lot surveys through structural layout of multi-story buildings and project management, subdivision design. I've covered a lot of ground over the years. I've also gone through the weekend land surveying program at Parkland College and completed the 24-hour program that they offer there for that. This is a bit of a condensed version of a lot of that. Basically what this is doing is I'm trying to build a foundation for good technicians, good skills, try to avoid a lot of the shortcuts that you sometimes learn in the field through the years from other people. I want you to learn how to do it properly and, do the appropriate checks. What the labs allow us to do particularly is they allow you to start to build these skills, and it allows you to possibly make a blunder without the consequences that go with it, obviously monetarily or otherwise in the field. So these classes will start in the fall, September, and the classes run between 10 to 12 weeks, depending on how they fall. And there's usually 3 labs or one lab a month that we do, and we'll do those on Saturdays. It's a full day. It's a 10-hour day. And then Sundays we do a half day. We pretty much wrap everything up and discuss what it was we did on Saturday particularly. With basic surveying, that'll be the first class that we get into. It's very basic. It's learning the very early fundamentals of land surveying, how to tape things out, conventional use of a level, an automatic level, and a conventional tilt station. We don't even use data collectors in this class. I focus a lot on your field notes, and we'll even go so far as to start breaking down some your survey computations, horizontal curves, vertical curves. And then finally, as we start moving along through the class, we start getting into a little bit more complex, a simple building layout. And we will do a contour or a topographic survey, and I will make you actually hand draw it so you understand how these contours are developed with the computers. The idea is that you understand what the technology is doing for you now, so you have a better understanding of that. As we move along into the second class, that's your plan reading. This is very useful in all aspects of surveying, quite honestly, not just construction. We do some stuff with the residential and commercial building plan reviews, where to find the information. This is useful whenever we start getting into construction in that aspect. I also do some basic hand drafting. So again, so you understand how this information's built up. We move into civil engineering design plans, what to see on those. And we try to walk through a site, and we'll take a plan set. I'll point to something and say, okay, let's find this and see if you can find it using just the plan set. We also dig into subdivision plats, what kind of information is provided on it, and where to find it. Obviously, this isn't something it applies to all situations. It's an idea to expose you to it and get an understanding with that. Our third class, which begins again, and it'll be start the second year in the fall, and that's the construction surveying or construction staking. We'll do some development of good fundamentals of setting site control for it using the GPS or GNSS localization. We'll calibrate to points that are set out there, and we get into some higher level precisions using what's called, 3-wire level loops, and I'll teach you how to distribute the air through those things. And not everyone's exposed to this, depending on what kind of work that you do in the corporation you're at. We also go into route layouts for laying out like a road. And then we also do storm sewer or wet sewer design, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, and a stormwater management facility layout. So you can see where the cuts and fills are at and understand how that works together. And then finally, our last lab will get into a structural building layout, as if you were laying out the steel structure of a building. Yeah, I kind of glossed over it, and I didn't really get into it too much, but the course, like I said, was 10 weeks roughly. And every week you're giving a problem set, and you'll be able to do that online through a whole week. There's some videos that are provided with that, and some textbook work that you'll have to do with it. And there's not a lot of one-on-one with that, but you can certainly reach out to me if you have any particular questions. If you're struggling with something, I try to make myself available through the day and even into the afternoons and evenings. If you have questions, if you're stuck with something, I'll either make a phone call, text message, and go so far as, if we had to jump on a Zoom of some sort. Moving into the last course is design surveys. That's stuff that we do either pre-construction or post-construction. So you'll do an existing topography. You'll learn how to use field codes and line work along with that to be able to develop a surface that can be easily transferred into a system that either an engineer can use or someone can review the information post-construction to understand if it's constructed correctly. A lot of what we do is we take a picture of the ground by use of all of our work, and we bring it in, we put it on paper, then they design something, we lay it back out onto the ground, and then at the end of it, we come back at the very end and measure everything to make sure it fits appropriately as according to the design. Again, I'm going over a lot of different material in the short 2 years, but I want to give you kind of an exposure to a little bit of everything, give you a well-rounded skill set for either the company you're at or just your future career for that matter. I want you to be a well-rounded technician at the end of the day. Be glad to entertain any questions if anyone has any particularly.
Whoops, wrong slide.
Then I could unmute myself by pressing the space bar, and then everything went downhill from there.
If I could just throw in from an employer's perspective, just to add on with what Clayton said, and I kind of was alluding to it when I was talking about the program. Clayton's going to teach you core skills, and they're applicable to surveying, all different aspects of surveying. And as an employer perspective, even if our firm doesn't do that specific task or that job, I don't care. I would rather have staff technicians that are educated and understand more about surveying and different aspects of surveying, because that just makes them understand, it makes them a better candidate. If you know one thing, you might apply something similar logic to something else. So like I said, even if the specifics, he mentioned they don't use data collectors. It's really good. It's really important to learn some of those core skills of, as opposed to just pushing the button, right? Yeah, we know you can push a button, get an answer, but if you can do it in a more traditional manner, if you understand what goes into it, then when you're pushing the button, that your brain is thinking about the answer and how it's going about what you're trying to get out of it. I think they're trying to teach you the why. I think that's one way of putting it, is they're teaching why you're pushing the button, why you're trying to do that. And that's something that, again, I wish it were different, but I can speak as an employer. It's hard to teach that information.
And I think part of the reason that I do a lot of the conventional equipment, and not just me, I mean, obviously this is a program that's been developed through the years and we've expanded it. But I want you to get behind the instrument and understand what it's doing. And that way, if you understand what the instrument's doing, it's more easy to process if something goes wrong, to understand, what to do to correct any possible blunders that you may encounter in the field. It gives you critical thinking skills.
Okay, so we have a poll that is ongoing, and we have a few folks still answering, so we'll give them another couple seconds here. So we did have one question from an attendee who had some technical difficulties. And Clayton, Tim, I don't know if while you're waiting, if you want to jump in on this. Says, I joined late because the link didn't work. Did you talk about the career path for people that start as technicians? And do people usually continue to grow career-wise? And if so, what is the salary outlook? So would you like to fill a person in real quick?
Yeah, I don't know. Are they on now? Where are they? Are they okay? They're in now. Okay. Yeah, this is a great way to start off. And then you can even expand beyond that. I've had a couple of the technicians that just completed the program and even asked, can they continue on and do the remaining coursework that's involved in the weekend land surveying program? And I said, absolutely. Even if you're not going for your license, grow your skill set, make yourself more valuable to your employer, and not only that, to yourself. And as far as salary outlook, it really depends on location and how far you want to move on with that. Like I said, I'm a technician, and I manage the survey department here for the most part, and I'm compensated well, I believe. So it's there's definitely room to grow, and if you want to continue on, I still want to continue as it is now. And obviously, like I said, I've been here a while, and I still would like to move further and get your license. And that's something that depends on a certain level of ambition that everyone's got. But don't sell yourself short just because you don't have the degree. You can make yourself valuable and find a niche in the company.
Okay. All right, then. Well, let's move along here. Maybe, hopefully.
So I'll just add to that a little bit, career path is entirely up to you. And one of the thoughts that we had with this program, and one of the positive, one of the many reasons we partnered with Parkland College, is it does give you a head start on the college program. So speaking in bigger terms for the profession, I would tell you that depending on the firm you work for, technicians probably outnumber the professional surveyors anywhere 3 to 1, 4 to 1, some companies maybe 5 or 6 to 1, right? So there's a shortage of professional surveyors. There's a shortage of technicians. There's a shortage of professional surveyors. I recently heard a stat that we are losing nationwide, we're losing about 2,500 professional surveyors a year through retirement, attrition, so to speak. And we only have 1,500 maybe a year coming in. So from a professional standpoint, we need people to carry on and go on with the profession. What our hope is, hey, pick a number from a ratio. We'll take anything. Our hope is that 1 out of 5 of you fall in love with this and decide to, hey, this is something I want to do. And if it requires more education, maybe you go back to school and get some additional classes. This will give you a head start with that. Illinois requires 24 credit hours of surveying and a bachelor degree. Some states, Indiana, for example, requires an associate's degree with 24 hours of surveying. So this will give you 12 credit hours of college credit hours in surveying. If you decided to pursue a degree in Illinois, you just need to get another 12 hours in surveying and then the degree to go along with it. But in other states, you might just have to get the additional 12 hours. So But where you go with it, where you take it, that's literally entirely up to you. There's opportunities galore, and there will be. This is just a great profession to be getting into. And as far as dollars, and Ryan, I don't know if you can pull up the salary survey that was done in 2021, was it, or 2020? I mean, it just depends what you're doing. But I would say that I believe in most of the categories that we're talking six-figure salaries, some even high six-figure salaries. So it's a very well-paid career. And I'm going to say, regardless of what you do, because I mean, our company has have people that have liked working outside, and they've worked outside their entire career and have six-figure careers. Just working outside, have never pursued licensure, never pursued a college degree or anything else, and they've done very well. It's been financially a very good career.
Okay. Well, Tim, do we want to turn it over to the apprentices now and hear from Ryan, Ivan, and Travis?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, do we want to go in that order? Ryan, are you ready to go?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, that was a really great overview of the program. I guess I'll just kind of talk about how I sort of got into it. I went to college as an undecided major and eventually pursued a liberal arts degree there, but with no real vision of a career path. And that's so I was just kind of working a job without any sort of vision. And I was just perusing Parkland's the classes that they offer, and came across land surveying, having never heard of it. And I just reached out to Corey Allred, who was organized or runs the land surveying at Parkland. And he let me know about this program and that it's starts day one with a job, which is pretty huge when looking to go back to school. You know, it's kind of a big commitment for a lot of people, but having that job day one just really lets you hit the ground running. And it's just so great that the education goes along with that. So you get the job day one and you have a trajectory immediately for the next couple of years to get you adequately trained and really understanding what you're doing. And just my experience in the program with my on-the-job learning and through the class, I really got experience with a lot of aspects of surveying, from hydraulic surveys, wading in streams, to just working with all different kinds of robotic equipment and construction, staking, and there's really a lot of opportunity to get exposed to kind of anywhere that you're interested, and depending on what employer you're able to get with, just a lot of opportunities. So, I mean, yeah. I've really enjoyed it so far.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. Maybe Ivan, are you ready next?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Ivan. It's kind of funny how I got into the program. I was originally just hired to draft. And then my boss kind of took me out to the field to show me what I'm actually drafting. So little by little, he started introducing me about the career path and what they have to offer. And he told me that there's a weekend program going on at Parkland if I was interested. And I said, why not? Like you guys were saying, it just depends on yourself if you want to keep on growing. And that's one thing I was looking for, how can I grow as a person and with my career? This program offered it, and I was really interested from day one. And now 2 years later, I'm working on the field and then in the office. So I get to experience a little bit of both, which is, I like it. I really enjoy what I do. Um, so one of the advantages of this program that has to offer is that part of it's online, and then the other part, it's really getting your hands on, which then, like Ryan said, since day one, you start with a job. So you're actually putting, what you learn in class and all the skills that you learn onto the field. And that's what makes it great. But other than that, I really recommend the program. Try it out, do some research. But yeah.
Okay, Travis, are you ready to go?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. All right, so I'm Travis Keller. I was also a part of the program, and I kind of got into it the same way Ivan did. I started working at Willett Hoffman, and I didn't know much about surveying really, but they wanted me to draft up stuff, and then they approached me about possibly taking this apprenticeship program, and I was definitely interested because I just wanted to spread my knowledge on this subject. It definitely is beneficial for me, really, being able to go out there and not being on the clock, and you can make the mistakes and it's not costing anyone money, and you can kind of go at your own speed and make sure you're doing it right. And then you have people like Corey or Clayton there to help you work through things that you may be having trouble with. Also, it's just a great way to meet other people interested in surveying, and it's another link you can have to reach out to somebody if you're struggling with something or something like that. I definitely look on furthering my knowledge in this profession, and hopefully one day I'll get my license, and definitely have this apprenticeship program to thank for getting that started.
I've got a question for any of you, Ryan, Ivan, Travis, and for all of you that are on the call. I mean, Clayton and I are telling you about the program, but here are these three gentlemen have been through it. So anything that comes to mind that you want to ask them, go for it. But my question would be, what would you say has been the greatest benefit to you by going through this program?
I mean, for me, it's just given me direction, really, and a career path. And it's so much of the legwork is already done with the program. I mean, it's just pretty much as simple as jumping in, and you've got like a job and a career path. And there are a lot of different areas you can explore, like licensure, to just being a technician. And there, you could spend all your time drafting in the office if that's something you prefer, or entirely in the field, or a mixture. So extremely beneficial for me.
That's good.
For me, it would have to be the same thing. Just having that opportunity to continue my career. And like, Ryan and Travis said, I'm also trying to pursue to obtaining my license in the near future. So to me, it's that path that's able to do.
Yeah, the biggest benefit for me, I'd say, was it's just extra experience. You get to go out there, get to set up the robot or whatever multiple times, get to work through it. Just hearing the different vocabulary kind of for surveying, a lot of words were at first kind of flying over my head, like, what's this mean? What's that mean? Once you hear it and stuff like that enough, you start to figure it out. And then sometimes I'd struggle with something at work, and then all of a sudden we'd go through it at school, and it would help me figure it out, or vice versa. I would be struggling with something in the class, and then I'd run into a similar problem at work, and it just all the experience. That's what is key to me, is just the repetition and all of that.
Well, I want to add, just from an employer perspective, of what I just heard, that just kind of spoke volumes. And every employer would love to have employees that are engaged and consider what they do a career, not just a job, not just something you show up to every day. And when I hear what the three of you just said, that this program is provided for you, it's provided you something that you think of as a career, that this is what I do. I'm proud of what I do. I like what I do. And what I would tell any of you that are on the fence about the program, that are unsure about it, is that you've got nothing to lose. I know a lot of people. I've known a lot of people over the years, and I know a lot of people that have struggled with figuring out what it is they wanted to do as a career. I remember when I first got into surveying, I had a few friends that tried to join, and that some stuck it out, some didn't, but that were really struggling to find something that they like to do. And what I would tell you is that time flies by. This is a 2-year program. The worst thing that happens is that you finish the 2-year program and you decide that, hey, the surveying may be great for you, but it's not great for me. But the best thing that could happen is that you can find a career that's going to pay you well, that's going to be enriching, fulfilling, that you're going to do for the rest of your working life, and look back and in enjoyment and say, wow, what a good decision that was to get started in it. Sorry, you guys are being real quiet. I don't know if we're answering all the questions or, but I think that was it. Again, our goal today was, and again, I was very pleased. I know about half of you were kind of undecided, and I would expect that, but hopefully we answered the questions. And for any of you that are undecided, hopefully you're open to a call or follow up. Feel free to reach out to any of us. And Ryan, I think you've got the contact information. I think I did not, and I meant to include, I mentioned to you the on-the-job learning sheet. We'll just send that out. It's just good information. And please, if you have any questions for any of us, I'm more than happy to talk to any of you. And just probably to rest assured, this is something we're doing for the profession. I work nationally with the National Workforce Development Committee. And this is not a recruitment thing that any employer is going to try and take the employee from someone else. We're here to help the profession and make the profession better, and to help you get an education in the process and make you better, make this a career for you. So if there's any unanswered questions that, feel free to, reach out to Ryan. He can direct you to Clayton about Parkland, or he can direct you to me for any other questions. Again, we're here to help, and I really appreciate your time coming today and listening to our spiel, if you will. Like I said, hopefully we answered all your questions, but we certainly appreciate your time. And I wasn't sure that we were going to take the whole hour, and here we are. It's 5 to 5. So
Yeah, and real quick, we've got this program. Looks like most people have answered, and most of you think it's the right amount of information, but a couple others would like some more info about signing up or about the training. And so, we have your information, and we'll be sure to get that out to you. We do have some information here in the chat. Tina posted in there the link to register for the program on the IPLSA website. Also, if you have questions, feel free to contact the IPLSA office. The email for this specific program is apprentice@iplsa.org. You can also give us a call here, and the number is 217-528-3053. You can also, check us out on the website, and we're more than happy to talk to anybody. Just as a reminder, the deadline to get the application process started is June 1st. You know, I mean, you can still be working on through the Parkland application process and all of that after that date. But we want to have you and your employer signed up and ready to go by then.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you, everybody. Again, we really appreciate you joining us today, and feel free to, like I say, follow up with any questions. And I think there's a brochure that has all the information that Tina just posted on there. There's a brochure that's been put out for this that Ryan could probably send you a copy of that as well. That might answer some of the questions that we tried to cover today also.
All right.
All right, very good. Ivan, Travis, and Ryan, thank you for joining us today and sharing your thoughts with it as well. We really appreciate your time and input on this, and hope to hear from the rest of you and see you in this program.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Hi, I have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So for the application, after we put all of our information, do we just wait until we get an email?
So do you have an employer set up yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the survey up and the application.
Okay. So if you have your employer lined up, go ahead and fill out the application on the website. That will be sent to us, to IPLSA. And then the next steps there are below it. And go ahead and start those. That's all the processes that Parkland needs done and the information that Parkland will need. So go ahead and reach out to them as well. And when we get everything together, we will be reaching out to everyone and going from there.